Merchandising, Fashion and Retail Marketing from the National Institute of Fashion Technology, New Delhi. And through over 23 subsequent years of experience in the retail and apparel business, Sanjeev evolved from core functional roles in sales, retail, marketing, and merchandising to lead multiple fashion and retail brands as the CEO. He has the experience of building some India's best known brands and is known to have built strong teams and high scale businesses, having been associated with and led both physical retail brands and online marketplaces, including Benetton and Jabong in CEO roles. Sanjeev joined Jabong when the e commerce industry was undergoing massive financial restraints and strategic shifts. Jabong was a fast track turnaround assignment for Sanjeev. He pulled the company back into the growth path after 2 quarters of back to back degrowth. At Benetton, he delivered a striking turnaround of the brand's India business, escalating its revenue from INR 40 crores when he joined to INR 800 crores when he left the organization. In the 8 years he led as the CEO, effectively driving its rise as one of the country's leading fashion brands. At Levi, Sanjeev successfully heads the South Asia region for over 4 years to lead the consolidated business of South Asia, Middle East, and North Africa to drive the growth and profitability of the brand. And we present to you Sanjeev Mohanty, my dear friend. Welcome, Sanjeev.
Thank you, Shiv. I think it's an honor and privilege that you invited me, and I was really, amazed and inspired by Dr. Amit's story, and I was listening to it very keenly. So when you look at, the kind of work which is happening on the ground, it's really inspiring, and I'm happy to share this platform, Shiv. And Shiv and me have really spent our childhood together in a town called Bokaro Steel City. I think it was a completely different place. I've not been there for some time now, for more than a decade, but I keep hearing about the city and the development and all the great work Rotary and its members are doing across the board. So I thought it's a good idea to share this platform and share my story and my journey. And Shiv, how do you want to do it? You want me to really talk a little bit about my background, and then we can go to the Q&A?
Yeah, you deliberate for 15-20 minutes, and then I have some questions for you.
Done.
Which would be your story.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's really, I think one of the things which Steve Jobs has said is that when you can only join the dots backwards, right? When you are in school or your early part of your life, it's very difficult to really predict in terms of where you're going to be and where your journey is going to lead you to. And I think Bokaro was a great place to start your childhood and journey. It was a simple place. I think the focus was on academics, perhaps a little too much. And I think, Shiv Agrawal, I remember, was one of the inspiring leaders in school. Like, he was part of every school leadership team, every school program. I was somebody who was more reclusive, more of an introvert, and we used to look at, young leaders like Shiv and really see, the kind of interest he would take in sports, extracurricular, social service. And I think that is something which in the initial part of my schooling I missed out. And I was really a very, very ordinary and average student, right, from class 7 and 8. I was brilliant till class 6, 7. I think I lost track somewhere and, managed to just scrape through grade 10 and grade 12. And Bokaro was also, because it's a city with, a lot of engineers and doctors, and, there was a tremendous amount of pressure which used to be on all the children who were studying there. I studied with Shiv in St. Xavier's School, which was one of the best schools in Bokaro at that point in time, and I'm sure it is equally good today. And I think there was tremendous pressure in terms of getting into engineering. My father worked for the Bokaro steel plant, and he had always had in mind that his son would get into engineering like himself, and perhaps even for the IIT. I think I had no such ambition, and I just managed to hobble through and struggle through school in class 12 and did not get through any engineering and had pretty low marks. Like what I remember that I had got 67% or something like that in grade 12. So managed to only get admission in BCom in my native place in Cuttack. So that was a big downer. I think I disappointed my parents, and they saw all the other kids. A lot of other kids get into IIT. I think that time Bokaro used to produce, top 10, top 100 rank IITians at that point in time. So it was a big letdown for the parents, and I just scraped through graduation and I had no clue what I wanted to do in life and appeared for my MBA exams. Anyway, I got rejected by most of the MBAs. I cleared the written exams for CAT and XLRI, but did not get through the interview. And I got through this place called NIFT. It was a new start. It was an institute which was set up by the government of India, along with the Fashion Institute of Technology, to really promote, fashion in the country. So yeah, so I had to hear comments like, Mohanty साहब का लड़का टेलर बनने वाला है. I think ये निफ्ट क्या होता है, IIT में जाना चाहिए था. IIM में look at all the kids, and I think it's a bit of a disaster. So anyway, so I was used to failure, right from the beginning. So I did not take it to heart, and I went to NIFT, and soon I realized that I had this special liking towards fashion and the textile and garment industry, and that these are things you discover as you go through life, and you realize that you may not have been cut out to become an engineer, but there's a different calling. And again, I think fate had completely something different for me. And I was a good student. I worked hard in NIFT, and I managed to get through the interview round of the top 3 companies in 1995, which were Levi, Shoppers Stop, and Madura Garments, Aditya Birla Group. These were the top 3 companies on campus, and I was super confident that I'll make through one of them. And because there was a limited kind of approach that you could appear for only 3 interviews, because there were only 20-25 companies for 27 students. And so I went and sat in the interviews. I went back home to Bokaro after finishing my postgrad, and I was waiting for a letter from either Levi's or the Birla Group or Shoppers Stop, 3 really marquee companies. And I got the rejection letter of all the 3 companies. I did not make it in the last round, like literally after clearing GD and multiple rounds of interview. I could not get into the last round, and it was really a letdown. I could see the disappointment in my father's eyes, where all my friends and a lot of people have started working, and here I was. I did not make it to engineering, did not get to any dream MBA college, and now I'm getting rejected from any company. So I was the only guy from NIFT who was not placed in a job placement. All the other 27 batchmates of mine made it. It was just sheer bad luck that I did not get through. So here I was in the summer of 1995, in June, taking a train back to Delhi to make my resume. There was no resume because I was just a fresher, to go from pillar to post. So I actually went to around 70, 80 companies in Delhi, small export houses, small vendors, manufacturing units, with my resume, and I was willing to work for without a salary also for a year, so that I could gain experience. And I got rejected by around 60, 70 companies, 80 companies. And it was in August, one of my friends called me from Bangalore that there is a role on a factory floor for me to really start in an export house, and the salary will be around 2,500 rupees. So, I said that I will take that role. So I went to Bangalore. I lived at my friend's place because I could not afford a house because the minimum rent was 600, 700 rupees. It was very difficult. And then I stayed with them. And they liked my work. The factory liked my work. They increased my salary to 4,500 rupees. And finally, I moved into a small Barsati, and I used to walk home and, work really hard. I worked on the factory floor. I was sent to Tirupur, and I was really supervising a printing unit. I did not have a chair and table to sit, and it was really a very, very tough time for me to really start my career. I would not meet my friends because I could not afford to go to restaurants, because they would go and eat on the weekends, so I would not go out. And I would be working 10 to 12 hours every day, and also working on the weekends. And it was a bit of an embarrassment. I did not go back to Bokaro because my friends would come back from their fancy jobs and they were doing extremely well. So I did not want to face anybody. So I worked there. I struggled through, and finally in 2011, sorry, 1998, I get a 1998 end. I get a call from Levi's. They wanted somebody for a product manager role for tops, and nobody wanted that role because it was something. Levi's was known for denims, and nobody wanted to do tops and t-shirts and accessories. But anyway, I went for the interview. I got through, and it was a dream company which had really rejected me in campus, and I thought that, okay, I'm back in this company. It was always a one of the greatest brands in the world. Like, it is in the league of Apple or IBM or any of these marquee top 10 brands globally, or Coca-Cola. So it was a great thing to be back. I took a sort of a pay cut because it was role nobody wanted, and denim was was the core business. But I made an impact there because I had learned the tricks of the trade. I'd worked on the floor. I'd worked in manufacturing. I understood product very well, and my contribution was really impactful. And the business grew by multifold in the 3 years which I was a product manager. And then I did not want to be in product. I wanted to be in general management. And so I said that, okay, let's look at an internal role. So there was a sales manager role which came up, and I applied for the role internally. And so there was an internal interview and all, but I got rejected for that role because they said that the sales managers are typically from the top 10 MBA institutes or IIMs, and I did not have that, and I was from NIF. So I could only look at a career in product, and that will be my career journey. And I could not get into general management, into sales or marketing. So that was very disappointing for me. And I decided that I had made up my mind that, come what may, I wanted to move into general management. I did not see myself working in a factory. I wanted to run a brand. I wanted to lead a company. And that was a dream in my heart. But I obviously did not have the courage to say it to anybody. But in my heart, I had decided that I want to one day be a CEO of a company, even though everybody told me, every single person except my wife told me that it is possible. And they said that, look at all the Niftians across the board. Nobody from product has made a shift to sales or marketing. But anyway, I went on, and then I saw this ad in the newspaper, which was asking for a designer for Allen Solly, a brand called Allen Solly, you must have heard. And Madura Garments was hiring for a designer. So I applied for that role with a mind that what I had in mind was to really, showcase my talent to the management there. And when I went for the interview, I tried to convince the interviewer that I am actually good for sales and marketing role, and not for a design role. And I tried to convince them that I could be the right guy if they had any role. And it was very interesting because the interviewers got really confused that why is this guy talking about sales and marketing when the hiring is happening for design. But as fate would have it, the CEO actually was passing by. He saw me waiting at the reception. He called me inside. He said that, look, we heard about the fact that you want to be in sales and brand, and you have an interesting profile. We have never hired somebody in Coats or Madura. And Coats or Madura, by the way, all the brand managers were from IIM Ahmedabad or IIM Calcutta. So the CEO actually, Prakash Nidungadi, interviewed me for 1 hour. And as fate would have it, he was convinced that they could make an exception and hire me as a brand manager. The only condition he had was that I will have to take a salary cut and a designation cut, and I could only join as an assistant brand manager. I was thrilled in my heart because I knew that this was a turning point in my life and career, because I could then move away from product to sales and brand management. So I got hired for a small brand called SF, which is San Francisco trousers. It was launched alongside Peter England, and it was again a struggling brand. I came in as a brand manager, turned around the brand, grew the brand, and became a star in 3 years' time. And I was promoted every single year from assistant brand manager to brand manager to group brand manager. And I was now at par with all the guys of 1995 and 94 batch from Ahmedabad and Calcutta. And in Coats Vela, in the last 40 years in the country, they had not taken anybody from outside IIM Cal or IIM Ahmedabad to be a group brand manager and general manager. At this point in time, my self-confidence was really high. I could really see that I could make an impact and I could be recognized. And then there was no looking back. And then I saw that there was this, if I had to make an impact, I had to do something big. I saw this opportunity with Benetton, which was a struggling brand at that point in time, and they wanted to get a head of sales and marketing. So I took up this role. I moved to Delhi. I could really very quickly assess, what the brand was missing at that point in time. It was around 36 or 40 crores with a loss of 20 crores, and it had 17, 18 stores. And I had a very interesting tryst with Levi's. So in Levi's, the first year budget which was given to me was a growth of 20% and to open three more stores. So from 18, I had to take the number of stores to 21. And I went in my first year, I opened 50 stores. So from 18, we went to 68 stores. And we grew the brand. I think I hired a completely different team. We grew the brand at the rate of 100% year on year. And within 4 years' time, we were actually, and I had this whole dream that, this brand should become the number one brand. And in 4 to 5 years' time, we became the number one brand in the country. And while we were one third the size of Levi's at that point in time, we took the brand ahead of Levi's and we became the largest brand. And in 2008 or 9, we crossed 500 crores. And by the time I left the company, we had crossed 800 crores. And I think it was at a retail revenue size, it was more than 1,000 crores. So the country in the fashion and retail business had not seen exponential growth of any brand in such a short period of time. So I think that really established my credibility as a leader in the industry, to be leading the number one brand. At that point in time, we really thought that I think I was really getting settled down and getting into a comfort zone. And I really saw early on that e-commerce is going to be really a big business in the country. That is where the real growth is going to happen. And I wanted to learn e-commerce, and I decided that I have to join an e-commerce company. So I appeared for 2 interviews. I think there were two opportunities. One was for Amazon, and the other was for Jabong, which was more entrepreneurial fashion. And actually, I got selected for both Amazon and Jabong. And Amazon was an amazing journey because the interview process for Amazon was 8 months. I got interviewed by 15 people globally, regionally, and I got selected to head the entire fashion and soft lines business. But I decided to be more entrepreneurial, and I took on the Jabong role at that point in time, and it was really a bad decision because Jabong was running out of cash. I was not aware of it. We could not raise cash that year. But nevertheless, in the 9 to 12 months I was leading the company, we turned around the company. We really set the company right and sold it to Flipkart, and which was again, Flipkart was acquired by Walmart, but it was a great learning experience for me. I think what I learned in 1 year, I could not have learned anywhere in 10 years also. So that is something which allowed me to develop a completely new skill set of being a digital leader and to learn digital very quickly on the ground. And that is something which is now helping me. And post the pandemic, I'm seeing that leading Levi's and transforming it to a digital company is something which is really helpful. At Levi's, I was back in 2016. It was a dream come true. A company which had rejected me twice, did not allow me to take a sales manager role, was hiring me as the CEO and managing director for South Asia. And within 1.5 years, I got promoted to lead 20 countries in Middle East and North Africa, in addition to South Asia. So I think my journey has been good. I think I've always had a dream and ambition and self-belief in my heart right from the beginning, despite multiple rejections and despite a very, very arduous and very, very difficult journey. And I never gave up hope. I never gave up my grit and my direction in life and my purpose in life. And I think that is what has really helped me to reach here. It's not a great achievement or something like that, but I think coming from a very humble background and going through rejections, I think I feel that I'm pretty privileged, and I'm very lucky to have those opportunities where I could actually, every time I got rejected, I got another chance, and I was able to capitalize on that. And here I am, and I think that's my little story, Shiv.
What an inspiring story, Sanjeev. Great story. I think this will definitely inspire people around here. Okay,
Absolutely,
I'll
absolutely.
put some questions in which Sanjeev, if you look when you look at your life journey, what have been your defining points of your career? Defining points in your career, like throughout your career journey.
I think, Shiv, I think a couple of things. One is that I did not think that any job or any role is something which is below me. So when I was working in a factory and everybody was working in a fancy office as a management trainee designation, and had no designation, or I did not have a computer or a seat to sit, I would sit on cartons and do what was required to be done. I did not think that, working 14 hours a day or sitting on cartons or standing on the floor without air conditioning was something below me, or that it was not. I was not feeling frustrated that time. I was looking at it saying that it is a learning opportunity, and so that is something which I learned early on, that I cannot be having a chip on my shoulder. And anyway, I did not have any choice also. It's not that I had some other choice. So I actually took it as a challenge and as a role. Second thing, I always put my career growth path as a top priority, which means that I was very clear that I could have actually become a general manager of product or vice president or the senior vice president in merchandising and product. But I had my goal very clear. So twice in my career, Shiv, I took a a sort of a downgrade in designation and salary. So which is very difficult. You understand that when you're newly married, you have to move from a salary which is move down in your salary by 20% twice in your career, and you have to go down in your designation twice. It's not easy. I think everybody today, kids are so focused on the next designation. Everybody wants to be a vice president in 3 years' time. But I was very clear where my journey is going to take me. If I had to take a backtrack in my career and I take a salary cut to really put me on a path to general management, I had to take that call. And also, it is not easy. You need to be supported by your wife, also your family. There's always sometimes a lot of pressure from your parents and family saying that you're stupid, you should not do this. You're working in a great company. You could actually get a 20% increase, but you're taking a 20% cut. And instead of buying a second-hand car, you're still roaming around in a scooter. It was not very easy. I know that my wife was pregnant at that time. We had a second-hand Vespa, and we used to, I would always crave for a car, saying that I could take her in a car. But it would be raining in Bangalore. We'd be standing under a tree, and I knew in my heart that this call which I'm taking is the right call. So at different points in time, I'd taken a call to move out of my comfort zone to take roles and assignments which would actually, I chose impact over salary and designation at three different points in my life. And also Benetton, people used to laugh at me saying that, you're moving from Aditya Birla Group, from Birla's, which is such an amazing company, amazing work culture, to a completely different company which was dying. Benetton was a dead brand. Nobody wanted to join that. They actually went around and looked for people. Nobody wanted to join. So I took up that role. So those were a lot of risky things which I did. Benetton, I was doing so well, right? Taking the company to 1,000 crores. And I was one of the most famous and most recognized CEOs in the apparel retail industry. And to leave all that to go to a nondescript company to learn e-commerce was, again, people said all kinds of things saying that I think his career is over, everything is over. But I took that call. So at different points in time, to really take very tough calls and to really focus on your purpose and what you wanted to achieve, and really move forward, is something I think is
Out of the box decision.
it was I think, looking back, it was really a brave decision. And I think I'm lucky that it worked out. It could have gone the other way, I think, but it is just sheer luck that all those decisions actually added up and compounded into success as I move forward.
Now, when you look at your career and over the years, how was your leadership style? What is your leadership style, and how was it involved over a period of years?
It's an interesting question, Shiv, because I think leadership is something you evolve and learn, and there is no single formula. I think there is a lot of talk about people trying to emulate different leaders, but my formula, which I have really arrived at, is that you need to have your own style. You have to evolve your own style. You might learn from different leaders, like I have done, but uh, I think I'll be very honest. The best leadership style is to be an authentic leader. Authenticity is key. You cannot fake it. You can fake it for some time. You can give very fancy speeches, and you can talk about very different kind of formulas for leadership, and you can read books. But ultimately, leadership has to come from your heart and mind, and it has to come from your soul, and you have to be authentic, because beyond a point you'll realize that people around you will realize if you're faking it, right? So I think I was a selfish leader initially, because i I was looking at myself all the time, because I was struggling so much. I was actually looking out to see what I can do for myself. And I realized, as I got into a larger role in Benetton, I realized that leadership is about making yourself small so that you can give space to people around you. You can give space to young leaders around you. And I realized that building a team and actually pushing people and getting them to succeed is so important than being famous yourself and succeeding yourself. I guess it's a leadership journey. I think in the first 10 years, it was all about myself. I wanted Sanjeev Mohanty to be recognized, and I did not care for anybody else. If I had to really push hard to make sure that I am succeeding, but I realized that you can only get to so much, when you are a selfish leader, right? So I think that changed, because I was also insecure. I had so many rejections. I had so many issues in terms of just moving one step ahead, that I thought that everybody, the world was against me, and that I was being, deprived of my success. So, but in Benetton, when I actually started focusing on building a solid team, I had one of the best teams which I built in the industry, and people joined me and not Benetton, because Benetton was an unsuccessful brand. And that team became like really the best team in the country. And you could see that you had the best finance people, had the best marketing team, had the best sales team, and you could see the explosive growth. And I think that leadership style has evolved. I think it has evolved through Benetton. The other thing which I've learned is that there is a tendency to bring your own people from your previous company. There is a tendency to have more familiar people around you. I think I've made those mistakes. So I've gone to the other extreme. I don't hire people I've known. I want to push people who have been average within the company, and I want to give them the momentum to really rise. And I've seen that I think leadership is about making ordinary people and ordinary leaders do extraordinary things. So I think as I got into Jabon and Levi's, I've actually not hired many people from outside. I've given chance to people inside the company. I think people succeed because the leaders give them the opportunity, to give them the freedom and give them the trust. So I want to give people trust. I want to give them freedom first. If they betray my trust, that they're not able to do something, I will give them a second chance, but not a third chance. So that is how my leadership journey has changed. And now I'm actually more focused on building leadership, building people, giving them opportunities, because I feel the gratitude that when I was down and out, somebody opened the door. In Madura Garments, Prakash Nidangadi saw me in the reception. He could have easily rejected me because there were 20 other applicants from IIM's side. He did not have to take a chance to give somebody from NIF a chance to run a brand, right? He took a chance on me. When Levi's took me back, they took a chance on me after rejecting me twice. So I think every point in my life and career, whenever I was down and out and feeling rejected, somebody opened the door. So I think there is a Japanese thing that you when you if somebody opens the door, you have to have the gratitude to open the door for 10 more people in your life, right? I think everybody deserves a chance, and why should people struggle like me? Why can't people get more chances to try out the things? So I think we all have been through a journey. You have been through a journey. I think you have given opportunities to so many people, Shiv, and you employ so many people, and you have so many projects. I think it is our duty as leaders to pay back the gratitude we have received in life, and never forget that you have been we have been very, very, very lucky. There are so many more. I meet so many talented people and so many talented leaders, and who are perhaps so much better than me. But here I am actually, getting this opportunity to live my dream life and dream career, and do whatever I can imagine, financially, economically, opportunities for my children. So I think we must pay that back.
Very true. A true leader is one who creates more leaders. Rightly described. How would you describe your strengths, and what would you advise to the young leaders here? We have got protractors here from the age of 18 to 30 who are just budding their careers.
Yep.
What is your advice to them?
I think one of my biggest strengths, Shiv, I would say, is my positive attitude. Always trying to find the silver lining in a dark cloud, right? I think I have really seen bad times. I've really seen dark times in terms of, imagine a 22-year-old guy who is in Bangalore where all your friends are having a great time. Everybody is having a great time, enjoying life, and you're sitting inside a factory 6 days a week and not going out and sitting in your one room, and you have to carry a bucket to take a bath to another bathroom which was separate, and you don't have a mobile phone, and actually spending the best time of your life actually just working hard. So I think looking at the bright and bright side of life and having hope, I think that is one. And I always had the grit to really come out of any situation. When I look at a problem, I first decide that every problem is solvable, right? We are not really trying to put a Mangalyaan onto Mars. It is just business, and every problem can be solved. So I have the grit to really get at something and get after something and not give up. Third thing is to really find a circle of friends and mentors around you who can really raise your game. So I think raising your game is very, very critical. You have to have people around you. You have to have friends. You have to have circle who can challenge you, and also not to have sycophants around you who are only clapping for you and who cannot show you the mirror and cannot criticize you. So being able to receive criticism is a great trait. I think many people are not able to do that, and they just sink into a sort of a hole where everybody around them is just, or you're creating a circle around yourself where people are just praising you and not able to really allow you moments of self-reflection. I think those are some of the things people say a lot of great things, and when you are the CEO, actually people are praising the chair. And I've been on both the sides. When I was in Jabong, I was actually going after CEOs to get business to Jabong. I've seen two different sides of people, right? When you are the CEO of Benetton, which is the most successful company, the way people behave towards you, you have to really not forget that actually they are behaving like that because they are actually respecting the chair of Benetton managing director and not Sanjeev Mohanty. So the moment you get carried away by your designation and the fact that you're driving a BMW and not a broken Maruti, I've seen both sides, how people behave. So I think you need to be grounded, and you need to understand in a heart that tomorrow, if you have to really drive a Vespa again, then you will be able to climb back to a BMW if required by your hard work. And I think you need to keep on relenting. You need to keep on working hard. You need to, people say that, hard work is not important. I would say that what I have done is really, I have outworked my competitors. I have outworked everybody else. I still work 100 hours a week. I'm still reading books. I read one book every week. I'm self-educating myself. I'm reading Harvard Business Review articles. I'm reading 10 magazines every week. I'm really educated around, what is happening around the world. So I think people like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, and they really inspire me. These guys. So there is no replacement for hard work, and you need to get after something and go after it with all your passion and all your emotion and all your mind and heart. So I'm somebody who is really not in between. Either it is all in or all out. If I go after something, just I go after it really, really hard. And sometimes it's irritating for my family. But if they see me, and during this lockdown, I decided that I have to put down 18 kilos to be at my fittest level, and I did that in 4 months' time. So I think that is one trait I have, and I think that anybody, it's a acquired trait that you can work hard and go after something with full passion and energy and commitment. I think commitment is something which will stand young people and young leaders in good stead.
You being at the management level, being CEOs of so many managing corporate level managerial conditions, how do you unwind yourself? What are your passions? What outside work? We know one passion you have been leading the writing group of Harley Davidson. I would like to hear more from you on this.
Yeah, so I think one of my passions is definitely reading, doing adventure motorcycling and music. I think these are my three passions. And I cannot play an instrument or sing, but my daughters, they play the drums, piano, guitar. They're good singers, so I enjoy with them. But I like listening to music. I listen to rock. I listen to Hindi, classical. So I don't have any particular genre. I can listen to all kinds of music and enjoy. Uh, I also have got into meditation. I think that is something which is really helping me focus and recharge myself and also reflect. And during this pandemic, I think it has really helped me to be centered and be focused on what I want to achieve and what I want to do and stay really grounded. And adventure motorcycling is something which I picked up much later because obviously during the early part I could not afford to buy a motorcycle, and I had made a commitment to myself that my first motorcycle will be a Harley Davidson. So I kept that commitment. When I turned 40, midlife crisis you can call, and I bought a Harley Davidson. And that was the first time, Shiv, actually I rode a motorcycle. I'd never touched a motorcycle till then. So you won't believe that my first ride was the delivery of the motorcycle from the showroom to my home. And actually the motorcycle stopped midway and I had to call the showroom to send somebody because I did not know that when the motorcycle is in a gear, you cannot start it. So you have to bring it to neutral. So I was such a duffer that I'd never ridden a motorcycle, and I rode. Now I do solo trips. I've done trips to Ladakh. I've done trips to Spiti. I've done trips from Delhi to Goa, 3,000 kilometers. My next dream is to do a world tour. And next year I'm planning to do, hopefully the pandemic will be over. I want to do a cross Mongolia adventure trip. So I will do that. So all those are there in my bucket list. I watch a lot of rock concerts. I travel and I backpack and I go to the rock concerts, and I love bands like Linkin Park and Metallica, and I've watched their concerts in crazy situations. So I just love doing that.
Shwetaji, how much time do we have?
I've taken a lot of your time, Shiv.
No.
We can keep chatting.
You can you unmute yourself?
It's very interesting hearing you, sir. We are actually
One
engrossed.
one
And yes,
last
you
question.
could. And I believe there are some questions in the chat box also for him,
Okay.
if you could answer, and then, sir.
Yeah, one last question, what I had already kept in mind. What does it take to be a leader in a fashion business? Fashion business is changing every moment,
Yes,
not
yes.
every day, every year. It is changing every moment, and keeping pace with it. And how do you keep pace with it? And what are the key fashion items? What do you think would be the future?
I think fashion is a tough business. That's why it's called the fashion business, called the rags to riches. It's a rag trade, right? People can go from riches to rags and rags to riches very, very quickly, because the fashion trends, once you invented a Coca-Cola, that has not changed for 100 years, right? You can change the font and packaging, but once you have the formula for a toothpaste or a FMCG or consumer durable. But I guess in the electronics and technology business also, it's fast changing. But fashion is actually very difficult to understand, and it's a difficult business. And I think one of my formulas to succeed in fashion, that I have personal interest in fashion. I really study fashion, and I am really tuned into really what is happening globally. I understand what's happening, what are the key trends, what are the consumer trends. I keep myself posted. I watch a lot of videos. I read a lot of articles. So I'm completely. So I'm not really, Shiv, I'm not really faking it, right? I have an interest in fashion. I am a sneakerhead. I have a sneaker collection. I have 150 sneakers, which I have in my wardrobe. So I have one of the best sneaker collections. I have backpacks. I love, denims is something which I love. So being in Levi's, which is the #1 denim brand, and having worked in a denim factory and having created product by my own hand. So I'm very passionate about product. Like Steve Jobs said that, it's not about always about the brand, but the product is the core. So I think the key fashion items, I would say that you need to have a 501 denim, you need to have a Nike Jordan shoes, you need to have an Apple watch, and you need to have a basic white shirt and a white t-shirt. So these are the key fashion items I really go after. Then obviously having a good jacket and a good bandgala in India is something which you must have. And yeah, I think I can go on and on, but this is something which
Steve Jobs
I think
has inspired you a lot. Who are the other leaders whom you follow, or they inspire you?
I think I would go back to Kolkata. I think Mother Teresa. I think she is such an inspiration for me. Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, and business leaders. I would actually call out three people. One is Steve Jobs, second is Elon Musk, and third is Jeff Bezos. I think these are three amazingly inspiring leaders. There is always a division in terms of how they were, in terms of people managers or as leaders, but obviously you have to take only the good qualities and traits of great leaders. So from a humanitarian point of view, from a leadership point of view, from a global world impact point of view, I would say that Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, and Mahatma Gandhi. From a business innovation and bold thinking and courage point of view, I would say Bezos, Steve Jobs, and Elon Musk.
Okay, we have some questions on the chat box also. We have Swarnika Singh asking just a question: how do you keep yourself motivated all throughout when you were on tenterhooks? Also, as Benetton was a budding and struggling brand, what were your key takeaways?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So I think uh, I will tell you that to keep yourself motivated, it's a learned trait, right? Everybody gets tensed, and we all get tensed. But the thing is that you have to set your mind to really fake it. Sometimes you have to fake it that while you are tensed, you have to really start pretending that you are not tensed. When you start pretending you are not tensed, your mind starts to get attuned to not getting stressed out and tense. So I think it's a practice state. I think everybody will be lying if somebody says that they don't get stressed out. But actually, you have to really keep focusing and keep reiterating to yourself that things will turn out positive, because there is no choice, right? Because you don't know what is going to happen in the future. The more you reinforce to yourself, and even if it is a lie you're telling to yourself, if you tell a lie to yourself 100 times, it will become a truth, because that's how you motivate yourself. And that's what I have been practicing again and again and again. So in the most tough situation, I try to lie to myself that everything is going to work out. And I think 9 out of 10 times it really works out that way. On the Benetton thing, it's a very interesting question. I'll tell you a story on my first day of Benetton, what I did. I called one of the guys who was really somebody who was struggling, when he was a sales manager when I joined and stepped into the company for the first day. I called him and I said that his name was Aman Khanna. I told him, Aman, let's do one thing. Let's travel across to all the 18 stores and click the photographs of all the stores and make an album. And what we will do is that we'll promise to ourselves that we will seal this album in an envelope and we will open this album after 5 years. And what do you think will be the result? How many stores do you think we will have in 5 years? So he had been with the company for 10 years before that, and we had opened 18 stores. He gave a number of 20. He said that, sorry, 25. He said that in 5 years we will have 25 stores, because in the last 10 years we had 18 stores. So I said that let's do one thing, Raman, let's take it as a challenge. I'm writing on this sealed envelope that in 5 years' time we will have 250 stores. So he thought that I'm on drugs or I'm completely lost it, and there's another crazy managing director. And we actually had 2 copies of that album, and we sealed it in an envelope. We wrote 250 stores and we kept it. And actually, in 5 years' time, we had 275 stores from 18 stores. And we basically opened that album, and Aman could not believe it. And he had actually forgotten about that. But when we had the cake cutting, we had more than 200 employees, and we opened that. So I think all of us, I think one of the lessons we learned was to have really audacious target, because if you have a dream and a target which you believe you can achieve, then it's not an audacious enough dream and target. So always have something which looks really, like a moonshot and impossible. only then you can go after it and you land somewhere. So that was a lesson which we learned.
Okay, there's another question, Sanjeev, by Rini. Did you ever felt you would have opted some other field than what you have been in?
So I think
Like
Shiv knows the answer. Shiv knows the answer that
then I would have chosen that too. What would be that?
Shiv, you know that very well, no? What I wanted to be in school.
That is okay, but I think hearing from the horse's mouth would be a better thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to be in National Defense Academy. I wanted to be a fighter pilot.
Yeah, we have been to Patna together for the ND exam.
Yeah, we had actually I had cleared that entrance also, but ultimately what happened was there was a guy called Sanjeev in our school who was inspiring fighter pilot, and he went to India, and we actually used to aspire to be like him. But two things, I think: one, I did not have a 6x6 vision, and secondly, my height was 6'3", so I could not actually fit into a cockpit. So I did not want to go in if I could not be a fighter pilot. So that dream was shattered. But any day I would swap this for being a fighter pilot. And when I looked at the Rafale aircraft being flown, and I think one of the pilots was from Bihar, I was really wondering that, maybe next life I want to be a fighter pilot and fly a Rafale. So that was my dream actually.
Wow. Any other questions from the jury or anybody who is there on the list today?
I believe District Governor-elect Pratimji wanted to ask something. He had raised his hand. Pratimji, do you have any question?
Yeah, I've been listening to Sanjeev. Hi, Sanjeev.
Hi. How are you?
You should script your all that journey you went through. There's so many wonderful things you went through.
It's already scripted. Now we are made.
Yeah, I mean, it's really awesome. I mean,
you guys are too kind. I don't think
you could be a role model for very many.
Yes.
Because in your deliberation, you have everything included in that. You had the hand of God. You had your motivation. You had your learning, and most of it is what now I wonder. I mean, I think that the last thing which I wish, one extra addition I want to learn from you is that, you have your energy, daily energy pack. Now, managing your energy and managing your time, these are the two things that leads you through a day.
Right.
So, I mean, how do you place your personal energy and your time management in seeing through your days? I mean, from your struggling times, from your worrying times, to your good times, to your biking times. How do you do that? How do you spread it out?
So I think I've realized that life is not only about your work. Life is about your passion. So I have two daughters. I think one of the things I did not mention very clearly, that one of the key motivators and persons who has believed in me and who has really allowed me to be my best self is my wife. I met her at NIFT, and she has been my constant partner and motivator right from the beginning. And I think she saw something in me which I think nobody else saw, not even my parents except for my mom. Obviously, my mom always believed in me. But I think even my father and many other people around me, my friends, did not see. And she has really, I owe a lot of my positive journey to her. So I think I'll be lying to say that I manage my time very well. I also struggle like everybody else. I also sometimes get into a zone where I want to do something. I miss my exercise, and I sometimes, miss my meditation, and I get into Netflix and those kind of things. But I have this ability to bounce back. So I start my day in the morning. I have to I do my exercise at least 4 to 5 days a week. I go for a run. I managed to find time for a 10 to 15-minute meditation. I use an app, which is interesting. I wanted to share that with you. It's called Omvana. Omvana is a very interesting app, and I use that to do my meditation. And I actually find time to read books. So I have a big collection of books. I have, I think, more than 1,500 books. So I keep ordering books. So I am always playing catch up on books and magazines and all. So I invest a lot of time in that. I also find time for my motorbiking because I'm really passionate about it. It's like meditation for me. So even in the most stressed out situation, and my family understand it luckily, and they never tell me not to do that. They know that it's a dangerous thing in India, and so I just pick up my bike. I'm a solo rider, so I have my backpack. I have a fantastic bike. I pack my bags and just go on to the Himalayas, and I spent 3 4 days. I recently visited this place called Kanchi Dham, Neep Karori Baba. If you guys get a time to go there to meditate, you should Google it and read about it. I think I go there because Steve Jobs was there, Mark Zuckerberg, a lot of the tech honchos go there, and you have to really be there to believe the kind of serenity and peace you get. So I have these crazy things which I keep doing, and I keep struggling with my time management, but I somehow manage, and it's a constant improvement. I continue to do that. It's not that imperfect.
I'm happy to
So,
share.
if I may conclude, your energy level is huge, which you can spread out from your morning till the evening and keep on picking on what you want. Because
I
this
try to do
energy
that.
level for us, it's a very ambiguous subject. Like for me, maybe my peak energy is maybe 6 hours a day, or maybe for some it might be 8 hours a day. But for you, it seems it's almost like kind of you peak out in on a spread out of 12 hours a day.
No, I do that, and I also have this childlike thing, and sometimes it is very irritating for some people. But my behavior in terms of when I'm with my family is more like a 12-year-old. So I'm keeping myself at a high vibration, high energy level. So I have this very interesting thing. I have something, which is basically a sort of a bouncer, and I keep bouncing on it when I feel low energy. I go onto the bouncer. I ordered it on Amazon. It's amazing that how it raises your energy level. So I keep jumping on it, for 5 minutes when I feel low energy. So I do crazy things.
So there must be, we won't be going into it, but there must be something very special fuel for you when your energy is down.
Yeah, absolutely. I do all kinds of crazy things. I blast music, or I jump, or I start doing some crazy things. So I do all kinds of
So in conclusion,
Thank
I'll
you.
say please script out your all you again. You'll do a world of good for very
so
many.
kind of you. So nice of you to have me here. It's a privilege to be able to share my journey. I think I'm sure that there are so many.
Surprise for you now. Uh, there was I don't know whether you know or not. There was a half-page article on ET Bangalore today. Abhishek, can we share that, please? Today in the newspaper in Bangalore, ET Bangalore, there's a half-page article of Sanjeev which was circulated in our batch group, which I'm sharing here. Abhishek?
I think I've taken a lot of your time. I think other speakers might be waiting, right?
This is the article which is a half-page ad in not
It was
an
there.
ad.
I think it was there in Economic Times nationally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on the national. I thought it was only on Bangalore edition.
No, it was nationally on Economic Times.
Okay, congratulations for this, Sanjeev.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for giving us time. When we have to talk also, then also we have to fix appointment with him
No,
because
not
he's
at all.
been so busy in meetings.
Yeah,
No, it's a privilege, Shiv. Thank you so much. Yeah. I think I always say that, Shiv, you have been an inspiring leader for me from school. So keep doing the great work you're doing. You're doing so much of charity, so much of service to society. I think I need to get there as the next step of my journey. I'll come to you for some inspiration.
Please, always welcome. Yeah, Rajan Bhaiya, you were telling something?
Yes.
Shiv, thank you so much for introducing us with a crazy man, I would say. Sanjeev, allow me to take that liberty.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was a person who had blasted a cracker in the bathroom in our school days.
The entire school was suspended.
The entire school classes were suspended.
I can understand. I can understand. See, you just said, let not be surrounded by sycophants. Okay. But I would put it otherwise. Sometimes you want to be with somebody, you don't even talk to the person. You just want to be sitting around with them and drawing in all that energy and all that good feel. So I would like to be lucky that way. Shiv, whenever next Sanjeev is in town,
Yeah.
please do invite me. I would just like to sit and observe him, तो बहुत होता है कभी-कभी।
Surely, Sanjeev, he is the district governor of District 3250 now. And
Sanjeev,
he's leading the,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
He's leading the district now.
yeah,
Thank you so much. And I'd love to be in Bokaro, hopefully in 2021, and I'll keep Shiv informed, and we can have a nice meal together.
You cannot enter Bokaro without telling me. Please.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I know.
Satyam rightly said, for leadership, there are so many adjectives and people do specialize in certain kind of things. But some trait of everything comes imbibed into your life story, which becomes inspiring for any next kid boy, for anybody. Like,
Yeah.
hope is always open for them. And this year, fortunately, you use that word opportunity so many times. Rotary theme this year is Rotary opens opportunities. And you rightly
Absolutely.
somebody opened one door for you, you open 10 for others, and you get it back.
Absolutely. And I would like to say, Shiv, that please share my email ID and mobile number. If people want to reach out to me, I think I did not tell you that one of my, I have my own purpose statement. And my purpose statement in life is to basically, it reads like this, that I want to basically inspire small town young people to think big and achieve audacious goals. And my ultimate purpose will be that if you can inspire, small town people to really think audacious, think big, and not really give up. And it doesn't matter if you have not scored 99% in school. It doesn't matter. Look at me. I was utter disaster in school, and ultimately I made something out of myself. I may not be Sundar Pichai or those kind of CEOs from IIT, but everybody has their own journey, and everybody has their own authentic leadership.
I could, Sanjeev, so clearly draw parallel to your taking a salary cut and going backwards. Just like when I see some greatest of football players, they are near the goalpost, but they will turn back that the strike is not for them at that point of time. They don't mind getting back to the middle of the field and then make a turn around and go back. You were
Absolutely.
that, and that
Right.
like lot of learning you give, lot of learning. Thank you for
Thank you.
being here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Really appreciate. Thank you. Thank you for everybody's time.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, let me just say thank you, sir. Then you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, it was so nice hearing you, sir. And we were so hooked on to all the messages, to all the message you were giving us, and we can just go on and on, but due to time limits, we have to put a full stop somewhere. So, sir, your story was really inspiring, and so many things we are taking away today from your message, which you have given to the youngsters and to all of us who are present and hearing you. Very rightly said, we need to be grounded. And yes, we need to be grounded and we need to be humble. And with our hard work, as your story says, we can achieve many of our goals in our life. And we must take this, and it's a good learning for all of us. Failure is a stepping stone to another success. And one door closes and many door opens. So we are really very fortunate to have you as a speaker in Rotary, and our youngsters, I'm sure, must be taking back so many good learning this afternoon from you. I like your idea of giving opportunity to the young candidate, to the deserving candidates, and making an ordinary people extraordinary. That was a very nice thing which you have mentioned. And Rotary family wishes you all the very best. And we plan to have you again sometime, hearing you back in our sessions, and we will invite you again back to Rotary. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and your message which you have delivered to us.
Thank you, Shraddhaji.
As a
Thank you,
token-
Rajanji. Thank you, Shiv. And I'm always available. It's only Shiv has to just WhatsApp me, and I'll be there whenever you guys do some event. And also, all the youngsters can connect with me on LinkedIn, and they can message me. And if they want any guidance, advice, I'm always available. I might reply a little late, but I will reply definitely.
Sure.
Take care.
Sir,
Thank
as
you.
a token of love, we present to you, we have planted a tree for you at Sundarban, and that is a very big project which we have undertaken this year for greenery, for and planting one tree for every Rotarian and every speaker, every guest who comes to Rotary. So
Thank you so much.
we have planted, and the certificate is on the screen for you to see, and we shall send it to you on your email. and WhatsApp, sir.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Abhishek ji, if you could display the certificate, please.
This certificate has the location also, Sanjeev.
Great.
Yeah.
And Shiv, whenever if possible, send me a picture of the tree once. And I will personally visit when I'm there.
That is near Calcutta only. It's in Sundarban.
Fantastic. I would like to.
This will
Really
this
happy
is
for you.
going to you'll get it in mail.
Thanks.
the-
sir.
The
Thank you.
certificate shall be sent to you, sir. Thank you so
you.
much, Mr. Sanjeev Mohanty, for being with us as a guest
Thank you.
speaker. Thank you,
Thank you.
very
Sanjeev.
much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you. Appreciate it.
Friends, we come to the end of the first